Whenever we read an article in class, we are always going to follow a certain set of strategies to make sure that we are reading strategically. The first thing we're going to start on is the pre-reading. Pre-reading has 4 steps. The first one is to preview. If you have a printed article, you're going to want an orange marker or colored pencil or highlighter and a yellow marker colored pencil or highlighter. You're going to skim the reading to make a list of words from the reading that are important. Circle any words you don't know what they mean in orange and highlight any words you know from class in yellow. Go ahead and pause this video and do that. The next step is to predict. For this, you're going to use the title and the words you listed in your preview step to write a detailed prediction about what you think the reading will be about. Examples of what would not be a detailed prediction. If you said, I think this article will be about how vaccines work, that's just the title. That doesn't give you anything else. So really use those words and the title to help you write a detailed prediction about what do you think this article will be about. Now you're going to add to your prediction. This is considered a longer article, so please read the first paragraph and the last paragraph of the article to add to your prediction or modify it with this new information. Why do we predict? Well, predictions allow you to make connections with the text and connect what you already know. Remember, learning is all about making connections between the new information and what you already know. So you should have nothing but the article in your hands or nothing but the article open. Please just read through the article. Don't highlight, don't underline, nothing. We are just reading through the article, and this is because all good readers read through complex texts like this more than once. Let's talk about how to do the response log. So your response log looks something like this. Your exact one is here, assigned to you in Google Classroom. You want to make sure that you type in the title, so you know what this was a response log for. You'll notice in your response log it has a space to put the paragraph number, what the text said, so if you're doing that on the computer you can copy and paste. If you're doing it paper and pencil, then you can paraphrase if you want. You don't have to copy and paste exactly. The code you can choose from. Did you find this interesting? You could put an exclamation point. Did you find it confusing? You could put a question mark. Do you think this is an important or a main point? You would put an I. Is this something you want to know more about? Put a W. Or an R for it relates to something you already know. And then your response is you explaining why you picked that code or codes. You can pick a code more than once, so maybe you found something in a paragraph you thought it was confusing but also an important and main point. You could put a question mark and an I and then explain why you thought that in the My Response section. You can use these codes more than once, so you don't have to use every single code. These are just options. If you want to come up with your own additional codes, that's fine. Just make sure that you write them down. For each section, you're going to enter a response in your response log. Let's do a practice one together. The first section is paragraphs 1 through 4. So paragraphs 1 through 4 says, this article is part 1 in a series of explainers on vaccine development and distribution. This article focuses on how vaccines work to protect our bodies from disease-carrying germs. Part 2 focused on the ingredients in a vaccine and the 3 clinical trial phases. Part 3 outlines the next part of the vaccine journey, the steps from completing the clinical trial phases through to distribution. Germs are all around us, both in our environment and in our bodies. When a person is susceptible and they encounter a harmful organism, it can lead to disease and death. The body has many ways of defending itself against pathogens, disease-causing organisms. Skin, mucus, and cilia, microscopic hairs that move debris away from the lungs, all work as physical barriers to prevent pathogens from entering the body in the first place. When a pathogen does infect the body, our body's defenses called the immune system are triggered and the pathogen is destroyed or overcome. If I'm reading this, I might pick, and this is totally your personal preference and up to you, I might remind myself of these physical barriers. So I come in here and I copy and paste this, and I need to look back at, that was in paragraph 3, so I would type a 3. And then maybe I think that that was an important or main point, because this is important because it lists and describes the main physical barriers the body has to block pathogens from getting into the body. And then I would move on and read the next section, stopping at the next stop sign. And I would go back to my response log, and I would pick something from the text, and I would put the code or codes for what I thought about that. They're all listed down here below your response log. And then I would write my reason for why I picked that code that I did. When you're POW with reading, so when you're done with reading all of them and you have all your responses, this article is sectioned into 4 sections by those stop signs, so you should have 4 total responses. You should have one response from paragraph 1 through 4, another response from paragraphs 5 through 8, a third response from paragraphs 9 through 10, and a fourth response from paragraphs 11 through 15. When you're done with that, you're going to write a gist. A gist is written in sentence form, and it is 20 words, no more or less, of what the article you read was about. A gist is like the essence of a speech or text. I've set up a space for you to do your gist. If you're doing it on paper, just draw out 20 lines. But here, and your spacing might get a little off, just space yourself down. Each of these boxes, there are 20 total boxes set up on your page, so you put 1 word per box, and then you'll know you have exactly 20 words, no more, no less. And that's all you have to do for your reading of this article.